Welcome to Risk On, episode 36. Here with Swizzle and Sats, like always. Sponsored by FOMO, the best multi-chain trading app out there. Go trade Moltbook and Elon and all the other flavor of the day coins that are running over there. Hit 100x maybe. 50x. The fudding has already begun, Sats.
Yeah, man, Jesus.
Starting now. Right off the bat.
Off the intro, man.
Right off the intro.
The Unks came here angry this morning, and we're ready to.
I'm sorry to let you guys know we just tapped 60 mil. I am feeling a little bit euphoric. I should
know what they say about euphoria?
What's that?
They say you sell euphoria by fear.
Oh, here we go. I'm not selling. I nearly made the mistake of yesterday selling, but
you know what I did in this same situation? I think gas hit like 50, and I had bought a bunch of it around 6 or 7. I tweeted out, I said a tweet that you want to hold these coins in the event they just keep going up, and it's the runner and it's the meta leader, and then within 24 hours it was at 2 million. Food for thought. Yeah, I was euphoric in that moment. Anyways, go download FOMO, promo code RISKON, half off trading fees there, and join Sat, Swizzle, and I trading there, buying all of the coins, any runner, no matter what chain it's on, you can find it there. Hi guys. So I got a little carried away.
What's a little spicy this morning?
He is, yeah. He's
I'm not as spicy as you.
Straight on my Moltbook, my Moltbook bags, man. This guy can't catch a break here.
No, you can't. We do have Vibhu from the Solana Foundation joining us. He'll be joining us in 20 minutes or so. So we'll just have the three of us until then. But yeah, crazy couple days, guys. I mean, last week we were euphorically back. Can you believe it's been like 8 days since Ralph rugged? That's it.
I know, man. It feels like 10 news cycles ago now. Like, generally, the space is moving quicker than ever, which is why I'm a bit worried about holding on to my Moltbook.
I told you.
Yeah,
we told you you were going to be sold. You were going to be selling.
I am a little bit worried because, things do move so quick, and it feels like Ralph was a year ago. It feels like Gastown was a year ago, and I don't want to be caught. I think I don't know how much more I've got now. I think I've sold a little bit. I think I had like 0.6% at the start. I've got about 0.3 or 0.4 now, which I'm happy with. And I think, I'd be happy. In my mind, I'm like, and in every group chat I see, everyone's like, yeah, this is easy 100 mil, which puts me off selling. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this week. I think everyone in my group chats is pretty euphoric at the moment, which has me a little worried. But onwards and upwards.
Man, if only life was as simple as it is for Sats. Just thinking about if he needs to worry about his 8-hour-old meme coin. I'm sitting here worried about, man, Bitcoin. What do I do about that? Pretty crazy day, and we'll get back to all the Moltbook stuff. We'll get back to Elon for sure. But can we talk about Bitcoin for a second? Because yesterday was a doozy, man. That was a horror show that we witnessed in macro. And it's kind of like you sort of saw it coming. It's almost like it happened in slow motion. And it's like, I don't know how it was for others, but I could see it happening, but I was stuck in inaction anyways. And now the question is like, where do we go from here? I think everyone is eyeing that sweep of the November lows here after 1010. That seems to be the final straw of hope that people have for Bitcoin to not suffer a deeper correction. But like, what are your guys' thoughts on macro as a whole right now? Are we too tied to like headlines, political and economic headlines? Is this correlation to a stock market correction? Or is there just nothing that can stop this free fall? Where are you guys at on everything?
I'm a bit worried. I've got to be honest. A bit worried about Bitcoin. Bit of a polar opposite to my Molt bag and on-chain. It is interesting that on-chain sort of decoupled from this whole Bitcoin nuke. I think that's like a big thing to highlight in this whole thing. Like, I think UM was quite clear in pointing this out on his channel. Like, the on chain, and I think Y2 too as well. To give him credit, he was very vocal about this as well. But it's a troubling time. Didn't we have the new Fed chair being announced?
Yeah, the market really loved it.
Yeah, really loved it. By the seams of it, they haven't treated Powell too well. And but yeah, I saw a post yesterday, and it was like Bitcoin had everything. We have everything it needs, aka crypto president, aka new Fed chair, aka new fucking regulation, and we are seeing down only. Everyone thought we were sort of front running the down on the stocks, but now we're starting to see stocks not even roll over. Like, let's be honest, stocks aren't even rolling over. They're not even moving really. Like the SPX is, if you look at the daily chart, it still looks completely insane. Like, what happens when we see even a 10% retrace? If that happens, are we going to be in literal nuke town? I'm not sure.
Well,
yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Wood.
No, I was to say that yesterday, our quant, Chris, one of the co-founders of BlockFi, actually was saying, he was telling us that like a billion of short open interest opened at like 86K yesterday, and Swizzle chimes in. He's like, "Ha, those idiots! Time to short look at 88K."
Those idiots.
And it proceeded to just torpedo down shortly after. Now we're at 82K. Trump as a whole armada headed towards Iran right now. That's good. So we got a new Fed chair that the market hates. We got an armada headed towards Iran, and we got precious metals putting in what really looks like a blow off top.
But luckily, we've got Maltbook. But luckily, we have Maltbook on chain. So
luckily, on chain is horny as hell right now.
Jesse's creating the AGI. He's creating AGI on base. So on the bright side, we might have a devastating blow off the top on metals, a devastating downwards rally on Bitcoin. But we've got Facebook for agents.
So you know what? For the sake of Sats's bags and for just in general, no one wants to hear us fear mongering about Bitcoin and let whatever's going on in the White House that's holding up crypto regulation. So why don't we get into it and talk about Sats's Maltbook experience? And I don't know if we can. Maybe we should do like a little quick chronological rundown of what actually happened last night, because this was like just speed, like hyperdrive of, just chaos, just things doing great on chain, volume. One thing vamps everything else, and then that gets vamped by something else. So Sats, why don't you give us the rundown on what happened? We'll pull up a couple of these charts while
I feel like we need to start with you. I think it started with you in the Elon bag.
Oof.
I think it started with that. The on-chain, the on-chain kicked off yesterday with the Elon bag. I know you sized into that accidentally.
I was looking forward to this being a fun story, by the way.
Let's kick off with this bit.
Because, oh shit, I was buying Elon. I didn't realize I was buying $10,000 clips. I meant to only buy $1,000 clips.
Yeah. So what happened was, all of a sudden, this Elon coin comes up out of nowhere. It started with the Chamath tweet, right? And I can't remember what exactly he said, but he basically said something along the lines like, "Let me long Elon" with the ticker. And so this coin pops up, just doing insane volume. Was it organic? I don't know. Some of it was. But, I see a lot of people kind of like fading, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to buy some. And my first buy, I thought I was buying $1,000 worth, and I accidentally. I've never done this before. I'm actually not a terminal trader, so I'm doing things pretty slow and calculated. I click buy, and I'm like, oh shit, why do I have so many tokens? And I look at it, and I bought $10,000 worth. So I'm like, all right, you know what? Actually, I think I want to size into this. Now that I have a lot, I might as well just lean into it. Next thing you know, I have 1%. And it's running. It starts running hard. I think it did like $50 million worth of volume in 4 hours, 6 hours from the launch. I was riding like a 4x, 5x on it. After, the initial buys being scary, and then I'm feeling good. I go to have dinner with my wife, and hour and a half later, I check back in. I was safely. This isn't like going to sleep on the bag. This is just going to dinner.
Just going to dinner. That's what you
just
got
going to
now.
dinner. 90 minutes, 2 hours max. And I come back, and people have not only has it gone down 80%, but people have completely moved on and are euphoric about something else. And it sounds like Sats caught a hold of that. And I'm asking in the chat, I'm like, how are we not even talking about this? Like, this is literally like a speed run of Gas and Ralph or whatever else we've seen. Like, people have just completely moved on from a thing that, Elon vamped liquidity from all the other low caps completely. And then that got completely sucked dry from whatever came next. So, I guess you finished the story here, Sats, of you're the champion of the hour. So
yeah, I felt like I was missing out yesterday on the Elon coin. I was sidelined on that, and I nearly made the same mistake as you did, going, fuck yeah, I'm just gonna buy some of this, and hopefully, I saw Powerball posting it in his channel, and I was like, oh shit, I'm feeling awfully sidelined here. And then I open up Frank's group chat, and everyone's getting a bit euphoric about Maltbook, and I went on the site, had a little click around, and I started to realize, like, I was like, this is actually really cool. I have my Mac Mini thing set up as well, and I joined with my little agent, and I let him run loose, and I was like, you know what, this is cool. This is probably worth a decent amount. I bought, and literally 15 minutes later, Mark Anderson follows the account, and it 2x's off the rip. I had a little bit of PTSD. I started selling and announcing in group chats I was beginning to sell. Everyone started calling me a moron, as you can expect. And I ended up buying back around 20 mil. And yeah, I'm sat in that position still now. But yeah, Malt looks cool, man. I don't know if it's just my bag bias because I have a lot of it now. Probably. It's probably not that interesting outside of that fact. But it is cool. I think when you scroll through the site, you start to realize what is actually going on. It may be a little bit scary in some places. I am a little bit worried now because I didn't really set up a lot of protection for it, that my agent just starts putting my personal info on the forums. That is a worry. But
so walk us through that. First off, congrats on the trade. But so it's like walk us through what it is. Why are people so excited? This is basically coming off the heels of ClaudeBot.
Yeah.
Can you give us the kind of the elevator pitch on what is causing the euphoria? What exactly is the token here that's associated with what's going on? And walk us through, because this happens so fast. I don't think a lot of people have really even know what it is or what's going on yet.
Yeah. So essentially, this is Reddit for your AI agents, and it's moving at a rapid pace. They're having some interesting conversations on there. A lot of it's going viral on like Web2 Twitter. The guys got behind it. It's Jesse and the base guys sort of got behind this as well. But yeah, essentially it's just Reddit for your AI agent. I think it sort of blew up because everyone's got the Mac Mini stuff. I think Mac Mini sold out in the US at one point, where everyone's trying to get on this. And yeah, it's not subjected just to that though. It can be any AI agent can sign up for this. But yeah, it's just an interesting concept. I think it's new, and I think it's sort of depicts the time we're in currently. But yeah, I know you guys aren't too bullish.
Can you just tell me why it's different than a bunch of AI agents talking to each other on Twitter like we did last time?
It's not different. It's not different. Yeah, it's not different from that. It's
similar to that.
Yeah, it's similar to that.
Except that Claude and Mac Minis have made it easier for us to make our own agents, versus before it was random people's agents that we were just watching. And now it's like an extension, and we can build these agents ourselves pretty easily and watch them have interactions in real time.
Basically.
And so that's the technical difference, I guess. Our own personal attachment to it maybe makes people more excited about it. And
you can see your agent. You can see your agent interacting with other agents on the forums, sort of going crazy. And
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's just an interesting concept. How long it lasts, and this is what worries me, that mindshare flips so fast at the moment. And like we said at the start of the pod, Ralph was 8 days ago, which feels like a fucking lifetime ago now.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It's only 8 days ago. And where will we be a week from now? I don't know. If I was sidelined, would I be buying at 52 mil? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Like,
how many times have people referred to it as the next GOAT, and how many people have said the price target is 100 million so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, I've said 100 mil in a group chat before.
So 100 mil means sell at 50 mil. And how much does Frank to God's own?
There it is. I just had to pull this up. Check this out, guys. I don't know who Iceman Dot is, but this is on FOMO. I just took a screenshot of this like 30 seconds ago. So this is like a live feed of where we're at. This guy, Iceman Dot, I don't know what the average entry is. It says his average entry is sub 1 mil. He bought all of it at
holy shit,
like 990K market cap. He's up 5,100%. That's $1 million P&L.
Man, who is after initials? You know, I did see a tweet from Say today saying he started a alt on FOMO. Would hate to say it. Would hate to say it. Say would hate to say it.
If that is Say, man, that would be
generational. Yeah, on his own platform.
An app and then becomes a legend of his own app.
Yeah,
Say doesn't know how to sell coins. He's kind of like Swizzle. So if that is Say, then everyone's in good hands.
Is that lock supply?
Then we'll know if we see.
Yeah.
We'll know it's selling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, that's I guess looking at this is the positive side of like you see crazy stories like this. We had Remus with White Whale, like FOMO made him an overnight celebrity, and it's a really cool look. Like a guy invests a couple $100 and you can end up winning a lottery ticket. That's awesome. First of all, I don't want to I don't think we can overstate that enough. How insane that is. There's no other industry in the world where you can make that kind of investment and see those types of returns happen so fast. This token launched less than 24 hours ago. And this guy has over $1 million P&L on probably like less than a $5,000 investment, $10,000 investment. I don't know how much he put in. That is insane. Then that said, on the flip side, it's also, nothing sustains right now.
Yeah.
And it's really, really hard to like think about the concept of onboarding new people into this because it's just not like a sustainable game. There's no such thing right now as a token, no matter how great the narrative is, no matter how bullish everyone is, how euphoric they are, like they move on so fast. And that was the thing that was crazy to me. Of course, there's some cope here because I didn't time rotation, but like I think about how much people were talking about this Elon thing last night. And then like, there wasn't even discussion about the fact that it went up all that amount and then back down 90% in the span of 2 hours. It was just like accepted within the crypto native community. It was just like accepted and moved on. And I was very like, I don't know if nervous is the right word, but like concerned about that mentality shift that like there's just like it's become so normalized. We don't even care. How are we ever going to like, let's say we have a legitimate like crypto project that's launched on PumpFun or Surge or one of these launch pads, something really, really great. How are we going to stop like the momentum trading from just destroying the ability for these tokens to establish like a legitimate floor? That's what I think about. If we end up getting something real, does it just not have a chance to succeed in this market?
I've got to say, will it get vamped as quickly as other things? It's not a Bags token liquidity wise. Molt has a lot more liquidity.
You're talking about Molt.
Yeah. Has a lot more liquidity than the Bags token. So will it have a little bit more longevity? I think so. Like, will it just get vamped overnight like the other stuff like we mentioned? I'm not sure.
I hope so.
I mean, we saw Claude go to 35-40 million 2 days ago, which was like the thing yesterday. Yeah, and now it's at sub 5 million. Yeah, and then Elon was the thing last night, went to 20. Now it's sub 2 million. I have a long list of coins that have ripped and died, and it's all the same liquidity. There's winners and there's losers, and if you're not selling, you're getting crushed. If you're choosing to believe in anything right now, you're getting absolutely killed. And the only way to change that is for new liquidity to enter the system. There just isn't new liquidity, and we're being shown that time and time again. Yeah, Multbook could be the coolest thing in the world, but if Bitcoin doesn't behave, people aren't coming to bid it, in my opinion, and it sets a ceiling to it. Whereas if Multbook launched in November of 24, could be $1 billion token, and that would be a realistic idea, but it just doesn't seem realistic to me now. But for now, you have to play the game you're dealt, and it's a really fucking hard game, and it's not a game that I'm personally good at. And Swizzle and I were talking before the show about how we need to turn into just like true boomers and just start like only trading Bitcoin and ZEC.
I think the reason we're contemplating it is, and we'll probably be back.
We'll be back. I'm going to take 24 hours. I'll be back.
You'll be back next week, folks.
But I'm pissed.
But here's the probabilistic argument. This is why I think we're truly contemplating it, and we'll see where we end up on it. But we can move on. We got our main event. We'll move on to talk about.
You've saved us. You've saved us. Yeah. You've saved these two.
Yeah. We were about to go on a long rant about how we're quitting the trenches. How are you, man? Thanks for joining.
Hey, good. How are you?
Good. We are doing very, very well. It's good to have you here. Thanks for making the time. So I guess first thing we wanted to chat about is we're not really known for doing a bunch of research on the show, but I did look into you. I saw you went to like a very hippie college. I want to know how you ended up in tech and not being like a philosopher of sorts.
How dare you like immediately dox my history?
We're investigative journalists.
We're investigative journalists, so. Exactly.
I mean, I don't know. Like when you're a kid, you make decisions, that are maybe not ones you make as an adult. But I was like a pretty ambitious kid, so I was doing a lot of programming and startup stuff on the side, and I graduated high school early, and I visited exactly 3 colleges, and they're the only one that said they would take a 16-year-old. So, yeah, that's basically how I ended up at a liberal, like a super hippie liberal college.
Amazing. But I think all of us went to college at 18. We were not on the fast track. Is that right? Menton Sats.
Yeah, a bit different in the UK, but yeah.
Cool. And then I also saw you worked at MySpace. Did you ever meet MySpace Tom?
No, he sold the company to Fox Interactive, which was like Fox's digital arm, like Rupert Murdoch. And by the time I got there, it was things were already pretty bad. Like we were getting our ass whooped by Facebook, and I had bought a startup that I was working at. And it was cool. That was a fun experience, but no, I never met MySpace Tom, unfortunately.
Right. And then on a more serious
So note, MySpace Tom left you holding the bag with MySpace.
I mean, not me. I was just an employee. It was cool though. Like at that time, even though MySpace was getting dunked on by Facebook, it was like known as like the music hub. And so in the Beverly Hills office, there was always like interesting celebrities. I don't know, like you get in the elevator and Justin Timberlake would be in there. Like it was just kind of a cool place and cool time to work there.
That's crazy. That is super cool. And then on a more serious note, I guess you had a bunch of tech jobs. I ended up founding Drip House. I guess for our listeners that aren't very familiar with that, if you kind of give a brief overview of what that was and then kind of how that led to your current role with the Solana Foundation.
Yeah, it still exists. We just it's Jupiter's collectibles and NFT platform now. So we sold it to Jupiter in May last year. It's basically like a creator product that was built around compressed NFTs on Solana. It worked very differently from most NFT platforms. It wasn't based on scarcity. The NFTs were more like a receipt, and a platform that I would say like this most similar thing is Patreon,
Okay.
but with a very deep Solana integration. It became like one of the biggest products in crypto. It probably still is from a like DAU perspective, and Jupiter had taken an interest. I mean, Jupiter's strategy is to basically be a super app, and we were, I think, fitting into their kind of this NFT and creator side of what they were
Yeah.
to do. After the deal closed, I ended up joining the Solana Foundation. I don't know if it like directly led into that, but I wanted to. I had a chance to you know, I thought to make an impact on the ecosystem, and so yeah, that's kind of how I ended up there.
Cool. And then, so I guess like one thing that we're all kind of curious about, you're kind of new into your current role with the foundation. I guess something that's probably everyone's kind of thinking about. We saw Seeker launch recently, which was very successful token launch. What are some of some of the overreaching or the big picture goals of the foundation for 2026, and things that you're going to be focusing on this year?
Sure. Just to be clear, the Seeker phone has nothing to do with the foundation.
Apologies.
But from our perspective, a lot of people got this wrong. Like, there was a really viral clip with
Yeah.
Red Guy. Like the like from our point of view, like Solana Labs at this point is an ecosystem company like any other. We want to support awesome products that people are making. I think I have one right here. Like Seeker Phone is a great Solana product, but like we didn't have anything to do with the making it or the token launch or anything like that. Yeah, like I think we feel like blockchains have basically found product market fit over the last year and a half, in capital markets and trading, in tokenization, and the problem is that the infrastructure is quite good for that kind of stuff, but the kinds of assets that live on chain today, still have very low liquidity, or a lot of the things that people are interested in global markets are not available in a tokenized format. As an example, like very recently, everyone's watching the metals like commodities pumping like crazy with gold, silver. They're basically like trading like crypto product assets at this point. Like the liquidity on chain for those on Solana is like pretty minimal. Like, you can, yesterday there was like $1 million silver purchase on chain, $1 million gold purchase on chain, but like in the scope of those asset classes, like it's quite small. So yeah, like I think our number one job is to figure out how to bring better assets on chain, and build robust markets, and then enable all the apps and things that you might want to build on top of those assets to exist, things like perps and so on. That's like the core thing that the foundation does. That doesn't mean like the foundation is also just an ecosystem company. Like it doesn't have like Solana is a network, right? It's not, there's no central custodian of it. So I think the foundation specifically like wants to play a role in things that it can influence with capital. And so like that's an area that we can help with. There's obviously also like many things going on chain, with meme coins, for example, other things that are well taken care of by the ecosystem teams, where the foundation doesn't really have much to add. So it's not that it's not important. It's just it's not the scope of the foundation per se. If that makes sense.
I did see one of your tweets. I think it was yesterday. Well, I didn't really understand, but I saw you tag MetaDAO in the comments, and it was based on tokenized equity. And and how you didn't think it was the final boss of on chain, and that they would have different ways of raising. Could you explain that a bit?
It's just an idea, but I've been thinking about prediction markets for many months. I think that when it comes to like, I think one of the reasons that the New York Stock Exchange, for example, they bought 10% of Polymarket, is that prediction markets may end up just being like a better market format for measuring the performance of a company. The premise is that you unbundle a stock is a bundle of a whole bunch of company indicators all into one, right? That includes all their spend, all their revenue, their EBITDA, their earnings, but it also includes like how they're impacted by tariffs or like other news events. And so like, stocks are kind of trying, and equity is trying to model a company's performance as best as possible. Prediction markets can unbundle that stock into and let you bet on or invest in like all these things as distinct pieces of data.
Yeah.
So if you're a sophisticated, what do you do if you're investing in stocks? If you're not not someone like you and me, but like maybe institutional investor, you're building a model for the company's performance, right? And you're doing that across all these different vectors. You maybe like even inspecting their supply chain if you're like investing in Apple or like Nvidia. Prediction markets lets you just isolate those single bets and trade those things. And I think I'm pretty sure that some of these like distinct prediction markets will become like bigger trading markets than what's happening on the stock exchange for that reason. You don't have to deal with the unintended things. You don't have to deal with Trump tweeting something about, whatever category he's interested, that has this like flash effect on how people perceive the stock. You can just isolate the data.
Yeah, so you can kind of sort of get long one aspect of the company instead of being long the whole company. I see. Yeah, because I read your tweet and I was like, this is a level above me. I'm like, I'm not getting this.
The question is, so I think that prediction markets can solve for what investors want. The question is, how do prediction markets solve for what companies want out of equity? Because companies use equity to raise capital for growing the business and for operations. Before a company goes public, they'll raise a bunch of rounds, right? They're selling equity in the company. And then when they go public, all of the preferences on the stocks get wiped out, and every bit of stock becomes common stock. And therefore, like retail investors can trade with the same rights as any other investor. And this is kind of like the moment of going public, but also companies use IPOs as a fundraising event. And then once they start growing, they also tap into capital markets. They use their equity and they use their stock to go and raise more capital. So prediction markets don't solve for that yet. So I was just trying to think through like how could a company raise capital through a prediction market structure. Like for example, a coupon. Like you could invest in like a company could sell, if they were the ones maintaining their own prediction markets, they could sell their future revenue predictions at like a discount to you or something like that. So honestly, it's just like random thoughts, but I do have a suspicion that the future of like internet capital markets is less likely to look like a direct translation from equity to tokens, and more likely to look like something very crypto native. And whoever figures that out is going to be extremely wealthy. I don't know if MetaDAO or like any of these, I'm not sure that they have the model yet. But it's just worth a thought experiment, I think.
Speaking of MetaDAO, what are your sort of current thoughts on their model? Because I think there's a lot of mixed takes on it. Some people like it. Some people think it's a bit too aggressive. Teams sort of don't get rewarded. That's what some people say. But we've seen some decent projects. We've seen Avicii sort of get started. But yeah, what's your initial thoughts on how they've got started?
I think there's two things I think about. One is as an investor. I think on that side, you're investing in startups, and 9 out of 10 or 95 out of 100 are probably not going to work. And I don't think that reflects on the model that MetaDAO or any like platform like that has. Like that's, but people don't understand that. I think they expect every single one of them to return capital, and that's just not like investing in risky startups is. On the other hand, I think MetaDAO is quite an interesting, like a pretty good replacement for corporate governance, because if you look at the value of like every startup has a board pretty much, and the primary job of an early stage board is to ensure that the founder doesn't commit fraud. Like that's basically the reason that governance exists, is like fraud prevention. Less so until you get much bigger on like making decisions around what the company is doing. And so from that aspect, I think MetaDAO really does protect, like it does provide this like fundamental fraud protection to its early stage investors. That doesn't solve for token go up, company do well, but it does provide, I think, a floor, and therefore like it's just way superior to most of the other things that have come on chain before this for fundraising. So yeah, I'm like, for that reason, I'm quite bullish on the idea. But I think even if you talk to Profit, you'll see that like there's still a lot of things to solve from there. That isn't the only thing that investors want, is fraud protection. They want other things too. So
Anything's got to be better than what Ben Pasternak did.
Yeah, yeah, quite literally.
So Vibhu, speaking of token go up, I think one thing we'd be remiss to not bring up and talk about and kind of get your take on, or just your perspective from the foundation, is one of the things you mentioned is like, obviously part of your guys' role is to support companies that build, or whoever's building platforms and resources that like bring in value, lock in value, help produce value, and furthering this whole everything associated with like the on-chain rails of finance. A big, arguably the most polarizing and like biggest producer of all this from the Solana ecosystem has been PumpFun over the past couple of years. Obviously what they've done has been really impressive in terms of like, just the amount of revenue they've done, the amount of like how embedded they've become into the culture of users. Obviously this is like, you guys are saying, hey, this is the type, these are the types of tokens we want people, focused on or whatever. You can't control where retail's minds go. But PumpFun has become a very kind of hot topic in the sense of like, there are just so many more tokens being created now. The dilution of, like what you used to see happen in crypto has changed so much. And yet like there's just like a ton of volume and attention that's catered towards that. And then 0.9% of these tokens end up failing, whether it's meme coins or, failed projects or whatever. I'm curious your guys' take on how you straddle the line of like being supportive of that ecosystem, being supportive of the product, but also like, are there things you like and dislike about what you see with the decisions PumpFun has made, how they interact with, like the ecosystem as a whole and what it's done? Because it's clearly like brought a lot of revenue and attention and users into the ecosystem, but it's not a perfect model, right? It's not something that's been all good. So I'm curious your guys' take and how you interact with that from the foundation level and just a broader part of Solana.
Yeah, just to have clarity on what you said in the very first part of your question. Yeah. Foundation, like the foundation only has so much influence. I think what I was trying to say is that like we're focused on the things that we feel we can make a difference in. It isn't to suggest that like the tokens I'm talking about are superior. They're just like the ones that we can do something about. Like if you're trying to bring silver on chain, you need liquidity. Foundation has liquidity, right. And so it's easy for us to be helpful to those issuers or to those producers. Okay, so that aside, I mean, PumpFun is a phenomenal business, yeah. And also surprisingly has continued to be very resilient in a way that you wouldn't have expected. Like with NFTs, you had this like really crazy pump, and then like basically volume just like never returned. And PumpFun had a crazy pump, and then they just keep replicating that over and over again. And even the last couple weeks, like there's been like a huge number of new tokens being listed. You've seen a couple of tokens maybe taking off, and so it's a very resilient business model. I don't think it's one that's going to go away. I think that ship has sailed a long time ago. The mental model I have for it, this is just because I'm old, and this could be like, as Kyle Samani says, like reasoning by analogy leads you to the wrong conclusion. But I do think of it as like very similar to what happened with domains and SEO in the early days of the internet, where like every time there was a trend, you would see like people register like hundreds of domain names and variants and try to like capture people typing in that traffic, or searching Google. You have like a very similar thing where like every single possible idea is some bot, something is tokenizing it. And the reason I like that analogy is that it's basically arbitrage. It's not like it's like not what people think it is. Like if I can find $3 or like $100 of incremental buyers for something, as long as it pays for the fees, it kind of works. So
Right.
I'm certainly not someone who thinks this stuff is bad. I strongly believe in free will. I think people have the right to invest or buy or speculate upon anything that they want to, and it's okay for, like, if you agree with that, then it's okay for people also make bad decisions about what they buy. Like, you can't try to prevent that. I'm not sure that there's that much that I don't know how we would change the shape of what happens in meme coins. Like, one thing of it is that like 99% of the activity is probably effectively automated. Like, it isn't like people are reading Twitter and then doing something. It's like a lot of that is, just like super sophisticated automated systems of different types. And like I think someone told me that like if you look at the percentage of users who trade meme coins on PumpFun directly, it's like less than 1% or something like that. It's like an insanely low number, which also means that like you mentioned the product changes. The product changes are less impactful for them, because there's just not as many people using the things that they actually build that are public facing. I personally like the streaming pivot. I thought that was really smart. I felt like they could have gone maybe even further there. But I just wouldn't write off this team because I like Alon and these guys are like pretty one of one, like generational founders. And there's like nothing will convince me that isn't true. Like, you can't, like, they're before Axiom, they were the fastest growing and maybe pretty much the fastest growing company of all time. And they continue to produce. And so like, I trust that they're going to continue to try to figure things out. They're also maniacally focused. And they understand like small things usually are not going to fix some of these problems. So, I can't imagine what they're working on, but I would be surprised if they weren't able to continue to pull rabbits out of the hat, because they're just exceptionally creative people. And, but I don't have any, I don't know what they're working on. Like, it's not, obvious to me. Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned there you liked the streaming stuff they done. Would you say you're a big advocate for the CCM meta what we had? Because I think what's happened with Zora on base has sort of proved that like the Nick Shirley coin and things like that model is sort of shaky. But would you say that has legs?
Yeah, I worked in this category too in a different way for a long time. Like, there's obviously, I don't know. I'm just like, I don't have any like special knowledge about any of this stuff, but I would say it was worth a shot because of who the audience is, very young people who like consume media in a different way. I think because Pump has such a strong balance sheet that it was smart for them to like find a category where capital makes a difference. Like I know they were like, aggressively trying to onboard famous streamers with cash offers. That's the kind of thing that you want, like as someone who cares about the ecosystem, you want the startups and like companies to be doing that. You want them to be taking like big bets with the resources they have. Do I think that creator coins are going to work? I mean, I don't know. Like maybe it's certainly worth a shot. And Zora, like between Zora and those guys, like they're like those founders are some of the best we have in crypto. Like Jacob and his team, they're exceptional founders, and these are the things that they're thinking about. Maybe they're 10 years ahead. I don't know, of where the market is. But like, I wouldn't like dismiss it just because we haven't seen something work. We have still a lot of time to like build better structures here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we saw Ansem say that exact thing. He was talking about the Nick Shirley coin, and people were giving him shit about it, and he was just kind of like, this is a good idea. Just because it didn't work the first time doesn't mean it can never work. It might not work tomorrow, it might not work in a couple of years, but if we're not trying to build and push this space forward in some way, shape, or form, then like what the hell are we even doing here? So I think to your point, like what Pump did with CCM and what the Zora guys are doing, like it's worth a shot. And again, it's a startup. A lot of them aren't going to work out, but like that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to build. We're trying to innovate here. And there's a lot to be said about that. And I think it's important that we support good builders in this space, no matter what it is they're working on.
Yeah, I'm just an experimentation maxi. Like I think, I would say like my criticism of PumpFun here is that they could have like they could have gone much harder on probably some of the offers and such things that they were making. Like they were getting to a point in those first like 6 to 8 weeks where I think they had like 20% of the like total streaming hours, something like that. And they were out competing Kick every single night on total streaming hours. So I mean, there has to be something there. It's just kind of unclear whether the model that they tried and that Zora had was like a huge improvement over Web 2. That isn't so obvious because like a lot of young people who are streaming, like maybe including you guys, it's like people would rather be famous than earn money, and I think that's partly where like it didn't quite line up for some folks. But
Yeah. I think one other thing about PumpFun that they get a lot of crap for being, people call them extractive, say they've been a net negative to the space, but they've fundamentally changed the way people trade on chain. And I don't think it's their job to change. I think it's kind of our job in some way to kind of adapt to what they've built, because what they've built is clearly very, very sticky. And people keep coming back to it time and time again. The revenue is insane. But, they've fundamentally altered the way we trade. If you look at the number of tokens that have failed, year by year, there was a tweet by CoinGecko. It was like in 2021, it was 2,500 tokens. And then in 2025, it was 11.5 million tokens. So clearly something has changed, and it's become hyper gambling. And that's the product case. So I don't know.
You said something which was like 99.99% of the tokens haven't worked. Like, it's actually remarkable that any of them work.
Yeah, you're right.
We have like a bunch of meme coins that are like in the top 25 tokens on Solana, and they literally have no purpose. There's no reason they should exist, and yet they do, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah. For sure. And I think that's like the polarization I was kind of leading to, because like you kind of mentioned, like it's not anyone's like responsibility to like decide what retail traders are going to decide to, what decisions they're going to make. I guess the reason I wanted to ask you, I was just curious, like, is it something you guys at Solana lose sleep over though, in terms of like these are things that are not in your control, that are not things you should be responsible for as far as like retail trading decisions. However, like reputationally, there are consequences, like there's backlash that Solana is sometimes the recipient of, which is like, oh, all these pump and dumps happen, all these extractive things happen, and PumpFun is usually in the fulcrum of that conversation, and then they're one of kind of like the, breakout apps that happened on Solana. So that's why I was asking you, like, is it something you guys discuss internally where there's a concern about the reputational damage it sometimes inflicts?
I mean, maybe somewhere, but for me, absolutely not. I don't think of it that way. Like the product itself is doing what it is supposed to be doing. Like like if you want that 1000x, if you want to buy something at 5K that can go to like 5 million, you're like, there's no investment instrument in the world that where like that is possible, but you're not going to get scammed, like, or like taken advantage of 90% of the time. And I feel like that's kind of the product that consumers actually want. Like they want that high risk, super volatility. Otherwise, it wouldn't be fun. Like I don't know. Like I'm hesitant to even call like a lot of that scamming because it is part of the. It's just like even
It's
the
a
word
game.
scam.
Everyone has signed up for the game. It's
Yeah.
essentially like a video game that people. I think most people understand the risks that they're getting into. Is your point? And it's like that's a decision to enter that arena. So,
But there are things. I mean, there are things that like, for example, the vamping culture, like that stuff's bad. Like the fact that that like you are trying to buy a token and there's like 1,000 variants and people are trying to trick you into, with volume bots and other things like all that stuff is, I wouldn't say it keeps me up at night, but like those are like interesting engineering problems that many ecosystem teams try to solve. But I don't know, like it just wouldn't be. I don't think people would enjoy the product without that as much as they think they would, because they would also lose the like the upside of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
This might get clipped and get me fired. So like
we're not trying to get you fired here. You're handling
just
it
like
with class.
I think you're 100% right, dude. Like people come to crypto for asymmetrical returns, right? Like the only reason that the three of us are here talking today, or I'm here today, is because of meme coins and trading on-chain crap that's fundamentally worthless for the most part. And that all is in a large part due to what PumpFun created. And there is no other place in the world like it. And you see gambling stats across the country, sports betting and whatever, all just going up and up and up and up and up. And I think that's a use case for crypto. It's a valid use case for crypto, and someone has to provide that service. PumpFun's doing that. I personally have no issues with what PumpFun is doing. It's a great business. Yeah.
I also
It's
think
all
like
not
they
meant to
spend a
take
lot of
away.
time. Yeah,
Sorry,
they do
go
spend
ahead.
a lot of time trying to fix this stuff. Like I think that's like the way this worked prior to PumpFun was like arguably much worse,
So
which
hard.
is why this model is quite dominant.
Yeah.
Not to say it's all perfect, but like uh, it's the best option for this kind of thing that we have invented so far, and I'm sure something will supersede it in the future. But yeah.
Well, the one last thing we wanted to, we don't want to take up your whole day, but just the last thing we kind of wanted to get a hold of. Obviously, we just talked through that, I think pretty fully around the PumpFun dynamics, but like there are a lot of other use cases that are here on Solana or coming up. And I think that's what's exciting is you can pretty much do anything and build anything on this chain. We did want to give you a chance to kind of talk to our listeners and let us know, like, is there anything specific we could be looking out for as, retail users of the chain that you or the foundation are excited about? Like, hey, this we think is not getting talked about and could be a breakout app, or could be just, a directional shift that would be really positive for Solana, cool stuff happening. Like, is there any kind of insight or alpha you could give us on, what might be kind of around the corner for 2026?
There's a lot of things. I guess like for a retail audience, I would say the most obvious uh, thing is the collision between AI and crypto. Um, there was a great tweet from a GP at Sequoia, which is like one of the maybe like the most famous venture capital firm of all time, and he was like, "Why is every company behaving like a crypto company right now? Like faking their numbers, faking revenue, like all this." It was a very funny tweet. Like, like it was, like it did like, um, it did make me realize that what's happening in that space and how people and how founders are operating and the speed of it is very similar to crypto. Like the AI scene is very like Twitter native, for example. It's very narrative. It's a very narrative space. Um, Apps are becoming more ephemeral, the same way tokens are maybe becoming ephemeral. Like things might be popular for one day and then disappear. Um, you know, it's like the idea is like code is becoming content in a way, like apps are becoming content, the same way meme coins are financial content. And so, the people who are building in crypto actually have like really good AI instincts. And like I've seen many crypto people go viral in the AI world as well. I think the reverse is also probably going to happen. Like I think the folks that are understand AI, as soon as they understand crypto, they're going to be phenomenal founders and phenomenal contributors to what's happening over here. Um, you know, and like there's a lot of so I think that's so there's the founder kind of intersection, and then just on the tooling side, like there's amazing AI trading products that are in development or out right now, and Foundation is researching some of that. Like, it's pretty fun to boot up cloud code and Claude code and build like an automated trading strategy. I don't know if you've seen like some of the TradFi versions of this. Like, there's been like a long running competition on stocks between all the LLMs to
Yeah.
give them a balance and see what they do. We've been doing some research on that. Bria on the foundation team, she has like a trader, automated trader that learns every day. So basically, like it's a loop, and at the end of the day, it says, "What do we get wrong? Okay, cool. I'm going to adjust how we take this." So that's quite interesting. And then there's apps like Meridian by Benedict. Meridian is a fabulous AI wallet for Solana that understands the ecosystem quite deeply. You can ask it to analyze a MetaDAO ICO. You can ask it to, go like mine ore, right? It has like a lot of depth there, and the team is super cracked. So that's an app I really like. If you like trying new wallets, this one is a level above everything else I've seen. And then like I think payments, like there's a whole bunch of interesting stuff. I think that's more on the developer side. Like you should be able to give your LLM a wallet and go have it buy anything you want for you, right?
Right.
That's like pretty near term. So yeah.
Yeah, interesting. One thing I wanted to you mentioned Solana AI stuff for retail users. Base has done that really well and really carved out a niche there. In 2024, we kind of saw both Base and Solana people building on both chains. Right now, in the last couple of weeks, we've really seen Base take off. I'm just curious, like I don't know. I wonder what Solana AI in 2026 builders are gonna come out with, or if that's going to continue to be dominated on Base. It'll be interesting to kind of see.
Mm.
I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, or it's just an observation I've had.
I mean, we want to win everything happening in crypto. So if there is a chain that's doing something better than us, I promise you, there's a whole bunch of people here who are trying to tackle that from different angles.
I'd love to hear.
Yeah, we're pretty on top of this stuff. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, especially Base.
I love that answer.
I love that
Straight
answer
to the point.
I'd love to hear it, man. Well, yeah, we won't take up any more of your time. Man. I loved having you on. It was great chatting. Appreciate you making the time for us.
For sure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to chat about, Sats Fizzle? before we hop off?
No, it looks good. Just like we were talking about at the start of the show, Molt is looking good, and you guys are sidelined. So tough stuff.
Are you a trader, Vibhu? I wanted to ask you that. Do you
My
trade?
what?
Are you a trader at all? Do you dabble in meme coins and that sort of stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
Of course. Why not?
I'm not gonna steal any.
All right. What's been your biggest win?
What's that?
What's been your biggest meme coin win?
I mean, probably like many people, it was Trump coin. That was like pretty life changing.
Hell yeah.
You're speaking to these two on the pod, man. These guys were big Trump winners. They've got Trump final bosses on the pod here. So yeah,
I really like the original ICM meta because I felt like that was a game that like required a little bit more skill than most of the meme coin stuff.
Like the Pasternak ICM meta?
I don't know, like yeah.
No, I was a big fan of that as well. Yeah, jelly and stuff. No, I was a big fan of that meta as well. I feel like that's where I thrived as well. I took a little bit more thought process. Not to claim that I've got more thought process than the average crypto user, because I definitely don't. But yeah, interesting to see what's happening on chain. I think the Molt stuff on base is very interesting right now. Seems to be a hot topic. But yeah, it was a good app. But one final thing, have you got yourself a Mac Mini yet with this big trend? I know me and Swizzle are Mac Mini'd. We've got the OpenClaw software open. I've even got it on Maltbook right now, posting for me. I'm hoping he doesn't post my full credit card details, but we're gonna see.
Yeah, you know all the disclaimers about don't set it up on your personal computer, don't log it into everything, don't give it your credit card information. Sats did all of that. He said, I'm gonna give it no guardrails. I'm just gonna let it cook.
I'm all logged in. I wanted to see what it was gonna do, man. I wanted to see everyone was like, this is amazing. This is
he's patient zero. Sats is patient zero on that.
Yeah, if my private keys end up on Maltbook, then yeah, we're gonna see. But I had to experiment, man. I had to experiment. Had to see what everyone's rolling. But yeah, have you got yourself a Mac Mini yet? What can I say?
I don't have a Mac Mini. No, I haven't set it up yet. I was thinking about putting it on my second laptop here, but
the test dummy laptop.
It's good upset. I don't have like any idea of what it should be doing for me. Like I can't think of a single thing.
I'm the same way. I keep asking people what they're doing with their Mac Minis, and mind you, I got one today because everyone else is buying them. And I'm like, I don't know, I guess I'll try. But I've been asking people are you doing things you would normally do? And they're like, no, I'm like doing these obscure random things. I was like, there's no real use case for it yet. It's like, okay, like when there's something I can do that like meaningfully impacts my life, yeah, sure, I'll do it. But for now, it's like I'm not gonna like schedule my bot to say happy birthday to all.
Yeah, exactly.
To my contacts.
Last thing I want is a fucking summary of my email inbox, like every time. Like,
I don't want
it's funny you say that. That's literally what I've got, and I'm like, yeah.
Wood is holding out until I can babysit his kids. I think that's gonna be it for him. He'll be all in.
Yeah, dude. Speaking of kids, I almost thought I was having my third kid this morning. Thank goodness it didn't happen today. So I'm here. I'm here. Thank goodness. But next week I might have a third kid.
There you go.
Who knows?
There you go.
Good for me.
Get Claude to sort you out. He'll sort you out. Tell you he'll coach you through the first week if you got it. There you go.
Seriously. All right, guys. Let's wrap it up. Thanks again for your time, man. I really appreciated having you on. Again, this is Risk On, episode 36, sponsored by FOMO, best trading app out there.
FOMO, man. That's great.
Multi-chain. Shout out to FOMO. They're awesome. Download it today. Promo code RISK ON for half off all trading fees. And we will chat soon, guys.